Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Rizkyana. I from Economic Education 2017. I will present my result. In the title, The Influence of Education, Government Expenditure, and Gender on Labor Skill in OECD Countries. Chapter 1, Introduction. Maybe my result background made this because first, workforce skills are important in the reference industry 4.0. The skill of workforce do not match the needs of the labor market. 3. Endogenous growth theory considers that human capital can affect a country's economic growth. 4. Digital skills are considered appropriated from the 21st century. The OECD considers capable of being the eggs of their countries to emulate the progress of OECD countries from several parts the continuous so that they are ready to face the 21st century. Formulation of my result problem is there an effect of education of the government expenditures and gender? In OECD 2016 until 2018, are the simulation effect of education, government expenditure, and gender on the skill of workforce in the OECD. My research purpose is determining the magnitude influence of the government expenditure, and gender on workforce skill in the OECD. For the novelty of my research is the effect of the education level, government spending, and gender on workforce skill has not been widely studied. However, several studies with one dependent variable refer to this research, such as research conducted from the many research in the study. Secondary data will be taken from countries that are members of the OECD. Chapter 2, Literature Study. I will tell you about the conceptual description for the labor skill. Simanjuntak say labor skill is the workforce includes residents who are already or are currently working, who are looking for work, and who carry out other activities such as attending school and taking care of the household. And education. Ruki say according to education or learning is an action taken by a worker is an effort to master certain skill, knowledge, and attitude that result in relatively permanent change, as evidence is one attitude at work. For the government expenditure, I will tell you about the Kahang says government spending is a component of fiscal policy that aims to assist steady economic stability while maintaining the rate of economic growth. And last, I will tell you about the conceptual gender. And actually, gender is a difference that is not a biological and not is the good nature, but gender is a behavioral difference between man and woman created by themselves through along social and cultural process, so that is institutional in society. After we discuss theory, then we will discuss relevant research. I have four relevant research. First, from the Foundation et al. The title is Internet Skill and the Digital Divide. Second, Van Ingen. The title is Inequality in Mobility Online Help After a Negative Life Event, the Role of Education, Digital Skill, and Capital and Change Internet Use. 3. From the IFA and et al., this public education, this public expenditure on education from mathematician and Moroccan GDP per capita ERDL approach analyze can address total individual and situational interest, the role of gender skill. Based on this theory, this research hypothesis emerged. First, there is an influence between education on workforce skill. Two, there is an influence between government expenditure on workforce skill. Three, there is an influence between gender on workforce skill. And the last, we will that there is influence between education, gender, and government spending on workforce skill. After we discuss chapter 2, now we will discuss chapter 3, namely research method. For the object and scope of this study to examine the influence of education, government expenditure, and gender on labor skill in OECD countries. There are under study is a country in OECD with the 27 country in OECD. For the research method, I use the VECM method for my research. For the type and source data, the type of data used in this study, secondary data, source data from the OECD. I will tell you about my variable dependent, about skill operational of the research variable skill. The conceptual definition of workforce skill is a person's skill development through applied learning that strengthens academic knowledge, critical thinking, problem solving, and a personal work ethic to development and employability, job skill, and home and work responsibility management necessary for the economic independence of a country. And next, from the education, I will tell you about the conceptual definition. For the operational definition, the operational definition of education is an effort made by someone to increase the level of knowledge they have, either through formal or non-formal programs. Education can be measured from the average length of schooling, which is calculated based on the percentage each other. From the government expenditure, the operational definition of government expenditure is an amount of funds budgeting by the government in the order increase for economic. And for gender, I will tell you about my operational definition. The operational definition of gender is the difference between men and women apart from biological structure, most of which are formed through social and cultural process. Gender can be calculated using labor force skill, which are calculated as percentage each year. And then we will discuss from variable constellation. For the X1, for the education, X2 government expenditure, and X3 gender. And for the variable independent, we will discuss for the skills. For the data analysis technique, I use choosing FECM method. First, vector error correction. Two, stationary test, determinant of the optimum length, co-integrated test. Model 4 of FECM use the Granger causality, impulse response function, variance decomposition. And last, hypothesis testing. I use the goodness of fit test or test fee and the coefficient of the determinant, the technique used in the research in FECA method. Thank you for your attention. Dadah.